Dear friends, hello and welcome to MOC Inside. My name is Mihail and today we will talk about how we can optimize the vessel power management, how we can make the vessel actually really consume less. And by making the vessel consume less, we are making our vessel more competitive in the market. So basically, we are spending less energy in order to sustain the vessel. I will share some simple things which for sure does not affect anyhow the safety of the vessel, and first of all it gives you the insight how you can do it and apply it. A very important thing is to take in consideration is that you have always to check the weather conditions before applying such let's say recommendations. And one thing that I also will recommend you is to join one of the memberships that I have specifically created in this channel. More than 1000 videos, different languages, different insights, different aspects, different things, you are able to find it here. And you can find things which is related with tankers, with bulk carriers, with raw vessels. I have a lot of material included and made specifically through all these years, starting from superintendent membership, going to technical manager membership. Then we have the marine simulation bundles where I have simulated various things, various situations that I have really faced in daily life at sea as marine engineer, and all these things will help you to adopt much better in different conditions. The most important thing is the methodology that I am applying. So basically the methodology, it is how you approach the things in order to keep everything working properly as required. And also the most important thing is that I have also specifically created the crude oil washing masterclass course, which is mostly dedicated for the tankers. But if you are not even working for tankers as marine officer, or let's say terminal manager, or let's say terminal operator, it can be very interesting to learn the insights that actually related with the crude oil, because crude oil as itself has a huge future. And the more things you know, the better you'll able to position yourself, the better you can keep, let's say, your value in the organization and move forward to build trust, transparency, and also be effective. And the latest projects that's also I have available on YouTube, it is the bunker optimization project and the sludge optimization project. So I have seen through the years that these operations take huge time, and vessels are losing a lot of time, effort for doing things more complicated. I have simplified, the structure is more simplified, it's more safe, less time consuming, and it is also available on the channel in really tiny fraction for the companies for what they're paying off. It is really the price, it's so low that you cannot find lowest price in global scale and maybe in the universe at all. So let's quickly start. Which is these things that you should take care when you are, let's say, doing power management? First of all, you need to check which kind of conditions you are operating. Is it, let's say, bad weather conditions? Is it calm conditions, weather conditions? And how you can adjust your system in order to reduce the load and the consumption. I have successfully implemented the power management in my household, and I have also reduced the consumption around 50 to 60%. First of all, the power management starts to identifying which resources are the consumers and also the supply unit that we have. It is really important, these things, the power management system, the power supply, and the consumers that are specifically calculated. And this is also starts from the design, from the vessel design. For sure, the vessel has to meet some specific parameters, while sailing, let's say catching the speed, supply the proper air in the engine room, because yes, if you don't have air to the engine room, how your engine will breathe. So there is different things that you can do, and through the years and through my knowledge, I can do such things that you can never imagine before. And I can do really more things, and I can share really more things, but for sure, for that things, the companies need to be paid, okay? But for you, my dear friends, mostly for you, I will set it, let's say, scale-wise, level-wise, so you can choose which level you prefer to join. Because yes, as I told you, this is my main, let's say, yes, my main goal to, and also yes, it's my main work at the moment. So I'm not working for any other organization. I'm not supported by any other, let's say, any other, yes, organization or company. So I'm working for myself through the YouTube. And I believe this is the most advanced thing, working from the YouTube, because the YouTube gives the transparency to the people. Okay, and in the event, if it is not YouTube, you know, you can find me, let's say, through the phone, through the website, through the connection. If there is no Google, let's say, for example, you are able still to find me somewhere around, okay? Through my phone, through my mail, okay? And okay, let's go to the power management system. So it's really important to balance all the things. And why it's so much important? Because if you have a generator which is designed, let's say, to work for 1000 kilowatts per hour, let's say, generation of the power, and you are using only, let's say, 150 or 200, you basically destroy your engine, because your engine are working in the low mode, okay? There is no sufficient load, the air is barely flowing, let's say, through your engine, and also you do not have charging. So basically, your turbocharger performance for this generator set as not in the range that it has been designed, in the not the power range that it has been designed. And such that also the temperatures of the exhaust gases increases. So basically your components receive a much more higher load, thermal load, not a stress, let's say, through the combustion process as well, but a thermal overheating, and also build up of, let's say, deposits. Like we say, soot, okay? So that's why we should operate our engine and demand of the engine basis of the consumers. What is happening now in the nowadays with the power management in the vessels? The vessels has remained for many decades unchanged. And the latest, let's say, technology, it is a FDV fans, how you say that, frequency variable fans, that are basically can monitor the pressure inside in the engine room, and then they can adopt depends of, let's say, desired pressure or necessity from the boilers, let's say from the diesel generators, from main engine. Yes, that dramatically reduce the load, that is true, but it's also increase the expenses of investment, and later on for the maintenance, for keeping the system and all the things. So everything has to be balanced. The initial investment that we are doing, how much time and how many years it will take until we will have the return on investment for these systems that we have been implemented. Because, for example, if you are using a system which is very costly, and then you need some spare parts, always the system breaks down, shuts down, so you have to tell to authorities, okay, have this problem, this problem. This creates also additional chain reaction problems in the long term. And why it's so much important to design such a systems that you have less things happen. So basically, okay, what I mean less things happen, that through the lifetime of the system, as the system operates, it will have less breakdowns. And this is where the engineers stand for, where the engineers gives additional value, which let's say the officers on deck, they are not able to do because their mind simply is not working as an engineer to implement things, to work the things and understand the reason why the things are happening in order to design them differently or change the design or even improve the design. And this is also one of the biggest problem in the nowadays for the companies. Most of the companies, let's say like big oil major companies, offices, from the shipping companies, if you look inside the organizations, most of the people that are sitting there are captains. Okay, they're not. They're really small teams of engineers. And as I have worked, let's say, for one of the oil majors, I have seen that there was a team of engineers which actually was creating value. They basically develop new projects, running the projects, modify the projects, and exactly see the technical stuff, what is included. It is really successful teams, the teams, because they can directly see the problem rectified and identified much quicker. I don't say that captains is not required, but I'm saying that the reason why we have this huge percentage of failures in the project as well, it is related with huge volume percentage-wise with captain and engineers. If you look around these organizations, most it is captain. So it is a lot of theory, a lot of thinking of ideas, but how these ideas actually will be implemented, it is a really big question mark. And this is just create that huge gap. The most important thing, as I see, it is to have a balance of engineers and captains in order to create the balance, but you have also to have proper balance, okay? That people that actually can hear the engineers, and engineers can hear captains as well, okay? So it works both ways. It's not working just one way, okay, captains say this, and we're going and directly implementing. No, we have to discuss the things. We have to see where is the balance, and then we will take action. Only that way it is working. So back again to our power management. For many decades, the system was designed really copy paste. And what is really missing in the power management is the proper power management and attention. So basically, the power management of the existing vessels now, it says, okay, if the load is low and you have two generators, one generator will going for the shutdown mode, okay? It will shut down. But if the operator will select, otherwise it selects to lock this, let's say, feature for some reason. For some reason it can be, let's say, bad weather conditions, or you need the generator for standby, for departure and all the things. Yes, you need that, and you will run two generators in a low load for the safety. But again, the safety is not guaranteed to run two generators in parallel. Even though if you have a problem, both of these generators can go to blackout easily. That's why the most important thing is that you keep your engines in good performance, in good shape, that as the problems occur, you eliminate them, you fix them, and you do not leave the problems longer and longer to continue. And really professional approach is that when the problems appearing, what you are doing, you properly report them. What I have seen also, it is a lot of underreporting, and basically this is the reason why the problems continue and start multiplying through the years. So underreporting or overreporting, it is some things that it also has to be balanced. But let's go back to our power management, okay? So the good power management, and the more precise the power management is from engineers and from deck officers, because it has to be balanced both ways, not only engineers thinking for the power management, but also officers on deck, how they will apply the power management through the vessel operation in order to keep the consumption low. So for example, we did not switch on the lights during the day on the deck if it is, let's say, the visibility is good. Okay, so we have also the awareness that if I switch on this light, some generator will work and then it will consume more. Okay, it is also the awareness part of the energy, the power management system. Because if you have, let's say, some officers from deck, for example, because yes, most of officers from deck, they do not understand actually when the power on the light, what is happening. It is the same with the people living here, let's say on land. They actually believe that, okay, you switch on the lights and the lights will always will come there, or there is nothing later on or after or before the switch that produces these lights. So they have to have also specific knowledge of what is happening, at least let's say the basic knowledge, in order to understand, yes, okay, I will switch that switch and what will happen next. Not just pressing the switch and then take the telephone and call the engineers, okay, yes, I have this problem, what I need to do. Yes, this is the typical story, what we listen, yes. You have also to put your mind to start working and realize things, that not everything it should be repaired by an engineer, or let's say waiting for somebody to solve. It is not a proper mentality and mindset. You have to train your mind so it starts to thinking, okay? And this is where the ideas coming, this is also where the development coming, the business development coming, and this is where you see the things differently. So the awareness, it is, let's say, 30% to 40% of the power management is the understanding of, okay, if I switch on this generator, what will happen? If I switch on this, what will happen? How much consumption will increase, and all that things. And basically for superintendents, a real good thing for comparison is to see day by day, operations by operations, similar operations, and compare the consumption. And also when they're boarding, let's say on board the vessel, they can see the conditions, they can evaluate and also instruct the crew to do such things. But mostly, for the power management and all the things, from my understanding, the engineers and the officers should be trained, okay? Should be trained because, yes, it is emissions, okay? It is highly related with the emissions. And the emissions in many countries are not measured properly and reported as well properly. So there is a huge gap what actually the emissions are and what emissions also the vessels really emit, okay? Until, yes, it will be fixed, it will pass, let's say, 10 to 15 years until the proper methodology will be identified. And in my understanding, and also through the material that I have created through all these years, it is that engineers and officers will be trained and they will do these things by themselves. They will not waiting for somebody to tell them to do these things. And this is one of the problems in nowadays, because everyone wait somebody to instruct them, to say them something, to let's say give them orders or writing on all the things. They will not do anything by themselves. And in one point also, it is right, because if you do something wrong, then you will get blame. And yes, it's really nowadays. Yes, it is really also before. Yes, I can remind Yes, it's only blame culture. Okay, I have worked only with Greek companies. I don't know. Yes, the blame culture, it is really high in this society. Okay, and even let's say somebody makes a mistake, it will not accept it, or it will transfer to another person. Okay, I didn't that. Okay, take it here. It is also in other, let's say, countries as well, as I think, yes, nobody wants to be blamed. But in these cultures, yes, you do not have transparency, you do not have development. It's just, let's say, surviving in the environment, surviving in the company. And in these environments, yes, you do not see something great to develop, let's say, something which is motivated, which is, let's say, created to last. No, in such environment, you just do the basic and that's all. You're just keeping the system running, the system consuming the people, consuming their energy, and nothing really produced, something interesting, something which changed the way of approach to make it much easier, effortless. I see really people working and working, make it so much difficult, more difficult than actually it is. And this is the step when you are chief engineer or captain, you need to say, no, we will not do that thing that you are saying because this and this and this. We are not, let's say, masochist. We are not masochist. We will do this way, our way that we are knowing. So yes, this is a little bit of power management. Yes, it's we touch a little bit that, let's say, that information, but also awareness plays a huge role of what I'm doing, for what reason I'm doing, where our engines are designed, how many equipment I will use for that discharge or for the loading. Because in the vessel and during, let's say, sailing, you have different conditions. You have standby conditions, you have anchorage conditions, you have maneuvering conditions, you have at sea conditions, high speed conditions, you have different conditions. Anchorage, good weather, bad weather, swell, rain, you have a lot of different conditions. So think about that a little bit, how the power management is being done. And I believe not only in the marine industry, if the power management will be applied through all the industries, so it will have a really, really tremendous effect. We will reduce directly the consumption of the fossil fuels, and we directly will have a much cleaner air because we will have less emissions and less pollutants, let's say, hovering in the air. Thank you very much. Stay tuned. Don't forget to check my book that I have specifically created. It's a really amazing book in the tiny fraction. It's very cheap, available on the Amazon. Check on the link below. Thank you and bye bye.